So now, Mark, please read from where you left off and come up to speed with this section. So, because what it is that Mark gives us a slightly different perspective and explanation on this abomination of desolation. But then Luke, Dr. Luke, is the one who is going to really bring the house down for us. So let's start with Mark, and then Luke, get ready.
Starting from verse 6, so I left off at verse 5. Chapter 1.
Very good.
What Mark was?
Mark is chapter 13.
Yeah, chapter 13.
Verse 6, go ahead.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be not troubled, for such things need be, but the end shall not be yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes in divers places, and there shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginnings of sorrows. But take heed to yourselves, for they shall deliver you up to councils, and in the synagogues ye shall be beaten, and ye shall be brought before rulers and kings for my sakes.
Pause. I just want to give another example of that. Remember when Paul was brought before Governor Felix and King Agrippa?
No.
I mean, no. And he was a witness unto them, and King Agrippa said, almost thou hast preceded me.
Yes.
Isn't that a fulfillment of this here, what he just read?
Correct.
Yes.
Continue. Continue, Didion. I'm sorry, Mark.
For nation shall rise up against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There shall be earthquakes in divers places, and there shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginnings of sorrow. But take heed to yourselves, for they shall deliver you up to councils, and in synagogues ye shall be beaten, and ye shall be brought before rulers and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them. And the gospel must be published among all nations. But when they shall lead you and deliver you up, take no thought beforehand what ye shall speak, neither do ye premeditate, but whatsoever shall be given you in that hour, that speak ye. For it is not ye that speak, but the Holy Ghost. Now the brother shall betray the brother to death, and the father the son, and the children shall rise up against their parents, and shall cause them to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And when ye shall see the abominations of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet standing where it ought not, let him that readeth understand.
Pause. Mark where you are. Pause. So notice the difference in the wording. This one says, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, and Mark's version says, when you see the abomination of desolation standing where it ought not. So it just gives us a different perspective. It's not only standing in the holy place, but it's not supposed to be there. Continue.
Then let them that be in Judea flee to the mountains, and let him that is on the house top not go down into the house, neither enter therein, to take anything out of his house. And let him that is in the field not turn back again, for to take up his garment. But woe to them that are with child, and to them that give...
Can I pause there?
Pause. Right. Okay, so pretty much a parallel as what was just said here in Matthew, with the exception of the ought not, place where it ought not. So Dr. Luke, let's hear your version.
Luke 21:13 says, and it shall turn to you for a testimony. Settle it therefore in your heart, not to meditate before what ye shall answer. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. And ye shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren and kinsfolks and friends, and some of you shall they cause to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But there shall not be an hair of your head perish. In your patience possesses ye your soul. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation therefore is near.
Whoa. Whoa, what did you just say there? Not abomination of desolation? Read that again.
And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation therefore is near, or nigh.
Nigh, near. Continue.
Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto.
So, and you forced me to have to go to Luke. Which verse it had the nigh thing there?
The nigh is 20.
20. Guys, watch this. Nigh, right? Its desolation is nigh. Watch this. I go and click on it for you guys. Nigh. Oh, then that is not the word then. It means near. It means at hand. It means approaching, that kind of thing, right? And it's from 4151. Near, to approach, at hand. It's from the root word 1451. Now, let me go to Revelation, quickie, just a quick detour. Revelation chapter 1, verse 3. Blessed is he readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written, for the time is at hand. 1451, the same root word. See that? So when Luke read it or said it, it means Jerusalem's destruction was near. Within the next, from when Jesus spoke there, it was AD 30. Jerusalem was destroyed in AD 70. So near referred to a time frame that can be roughly 40 years. Oh, but Revelation's near is 2,000 years, and we could still keep counting. How's that for near? Revelation starts and ends with that word. Let me go to Revelation 22.
And David, while you look at that, doesn't that timing, 40 years represent a generation?
Yes. And it had to happen. We come into that just now in this generation. But the point is that it's not a long ways off. Like 2,000 years is crazy to use the word nigh. I just want to say, to find it in the end of the chapter here too. The Spirit and the bride say come, and I come quickly, but that is not the one I'm looking for. That is the next time it's in, and surely I'm coming quickly. But that's certainly not the word, just now. Find the exact word. Hold on, guys. Sorry about that. Breaking transmission. Like this. (22:10) says, and he saith unto me, seal not the sayings of this prophecy, of this book, for the time is at hand. It's nigh. It's the same word. It's at hand, right? So Revelation starts with that, ends with that, and in addition to that, it says, behold, I come quickly. What about 2,000 years resembles that understanding of that word? I'll just leave the question for you guys to answer for yourself. Where was we? In Matthew, and Luke is reading. Luke, I want you to just finish off your little verse there. Finish off where you were there. You're running from Judea, continue.
Yeah. That was kind of up the part where you reach now.
Continue.
It
But you want me to
have the
continue?
Judah part, yeah. Read the
All
Judah
right.
part. Mhm.
All right. Then let them. All right, no.
Yes,
Right.
21.
Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto.
Mhm.
For these be the
Go
Mhm.
ahead. For these,
for these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled.
notice,
But woe-
notice, all things which are written. Written where? This
In
is
the
the
Old
second time.
Testament scriptures.
That's right. This is the second time Jesus uses this phrase. In the end of Luke and John, he says to his disciples, all things which are written of me must have been fulfilled, including the cross and the sucking on the sponge with the vinegar and all them things. All things which are written of me must be fulfilled, because the whole Bible is basically a prophecy towards the earth's salvation. But that is not the only thing it wrote about. It had other parts, and the other parts combined with the parts for Jesus makes it complete. And Luke says, for at the time of vengeance, everything that was written must be fulfilled. Continue.
woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give stock in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall like
Wait. What people? I mean, this people. The Trinidadians? The Africans?
nope.
Ethiopians? British? Europeans? Who? Americans? Which people, when he says great wrath on this people, who is he referring to?
Jewish people.
Of course, he's speaking to 4 Jews in their ears. This is a secret. This isn't talking to the Sanhedrin and the Pharisees and the Sadducees. This is Jesus talking to his disciples and telling them things as it is, plain talk.
24.
Right?
It becomes even clearer in the next verse 24.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Luke. It dies in Luke. Let Luke continue.
Yeah. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Very
Apostle John.
Good catch that, even. So yeah, that is exactly. Now, as we know, 2,000 years later, the Jews were banned from that land after that destruction in Rome for almost, well, they just say 2,000 years, but it's almost 2,000 years. They were only allowed back into the land after the British beat the Ottoman Empire in 1948.
John trying to jump in here, and the signs of in answer to the question, and the end of the age.
Please, sorry. Say over what you said. I'm not clear.
And the end of the age. So my part was to identify the end of the age.
Right.
Of the Jews.
Right.
And
what was your question?
My question pertained to the ending of question 2. What shall be the sign and end of the age?
Right. The end.
And I am saying that Luke chapter 21, verse 24 is showing the end of the age of the Jews.
You got your answer.
Yes.
Good. That is it. You got your answer. So at least I answer one question so far. The end of the age is the day where the final judgment, the final vengeance is poured out upon the Jewish nation and their city and their temple and the land surrounding, and they will be cast out from it and not allowed to come back. And that is exactly what happened.
Amen.
So good. So John got her answer. I think James, your answer came, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not paying attention. All you had to pay attention.
What shall be the sign?
You had to remind me the questions. Sorry, guys, I can't remember all the things, so much things in my head. So
James was the signs of thy coming.
okay, good. So you will get your answer. Right.
Mine is, when will these things be?
Right. So when will these things be is specifically referring to the destruction of the temple. Remember, that was not one stone be left upon another is what raised your question, that when will this happen? Right. So I think your answer coming close, or your answer, we kind of getting some of it, we could say. Because when the abomination
Of desolation.
or when the soldiers surround the city, you know that its desolation is. So really, that is really your answer.
Will
Am I
happen.
correct?
When, yeah, when.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have Peter got his her answer. John got her answer. We're looking
Actually,
for.
my answer is directly in verse 20. And when he shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is near.
That's it. Right. So crystal clear. You asked a question and Jesus didn't lapse. He gave an answer. So far, we have 2 answers. 1 more to go. And we have the special, who is Andrew again? That's Roxanne. Roxanne?
It's me, Roxanne.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Roxanne, you are still looking for resurrection.
Yes,
Right, good.
correct.
Okay. We have seen none of that yet. Okay. So back to me, Matthew. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. And here's the most famous words of this passage.
Oh, no, ever.
Nor shall ever be again. I add it again, okay, if I beat my foot. Guys, that omits dual prophecy right there. Even if you want to force the point about this dual prophecy, what part of, from since the foundation of this world, there's never been a time as bad as this, nor shall there ever be one. What part of that we don't understand and we get dual prophecy from? I am aghast. I can't figure it out. But you can't get dual prophecy there. Even dual prophecy is not a thing in the first place, but this here rules it out completely. Okay? So guys, stop looking at news and CNN and getting frightened about time of trouble coming, okay? If we understand this to be Jerusalem, then it done go on already. If it's not Jerusalem, but it ain't reach yet, well, fine. Okay, we waiting for it. But then what? The beatings and so on came first, not after. So everything will be out of whack if this wasn't what it was in Jerusalem. Notice again, I kind of skipped over that, I forgot, that the places that they had to run from was Judea. He didn't say run from Rome. He didn't say run from Antioch. Jerusalem and Judea. So how comes people all over the world today planning to run from the cities, from New York and from, I don't know, Vancouver and Port of Spain and London? I'm in Trinidad now because my mother ran from London. She said this was in 1970 something, right? We run from London because the time of trouble, the same sermon, the time of trouble was coming. Well, here I am, what, 40, 50 years? Not so much. 30-something years later, 40-something years later, here I am. Time of trouble I reach yet. Like what we run from London for, you know. My mother packed up everything in a barrel and put it on a ship and come to Trinidad because of the sermons about the time of trouble, and we have to leave the cities and run to the countries. That's why we are here. That's why I'm sitting down in this studio in Trinidad and Tobago right now.
Well, David, hallelujah. We wouldn't have met you, so hallelujah.
Praise the Lord.
David,
Yeah.
and where your mother right now?
Boy,
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Right back in the same London. That's where she is right now. And she does not want to return. She's in the same London where she plans to end her days if the Lord doesn't come first. But the time of trouble I reached yet. It was nigh, according to Jesus, with the disciples. I think it's about, I'm almost at the 40-year mark since we have been back from London. Anyway, guys, please stop running from city to city. It's Jerusalem, it's Judea, he told them run from when that time came. That's the city that would have been surrounded by armies. You know, if China want to send off a bomb to New York now, there's nowhere to run. It's a what? Ultrasonic now they're using? Ultrasonic. The time they press the button, it almost reach already.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, it's a joke, but it's a serious thing, guys. Come on. It never say run from New York on those places. It said Jerusalem and Judea. And Jesus isn't making a mistake. All right, let's continue.
We live because of quality of life.
Nothing is wrong with that. By all means, one wants a better fresh air and quality of life. Leave these stupid cities with the smog and the traffic and the... I tell people this all the time. If you want to leave the cities for those reasons, by all means, do so. You want to live off the grid? By all means, do so. You want to go in the forest? By all means. You want to go to Alaska? By all means, do so. But please don't do it because you're running from the time of trouble. That is the only point that I'm saying. We're not doing it to run from time of trouble. That is pointless. There is no time of trouble coming. The world, oh, look how the world is, and this happening and that. What's new? Nothing new under the sun. All this has been happening since we small. And it will continue to happen until Jesus comes. The time of trouble that Matthew 24 is talking about was specific to a nation of people who killed the Son of God and paid the price for it. You can't kill God and get away with it scot-free.
You know, David,
Uh-huh.
I believe it's in one of them, Mathew, Mark, one of Luke or John, one of them says that, you know, when they were before Pilate, they said to him, we have no other king but Caesar. That's what the Jews declared.
Yeah.
And who they accepted as king. One of the things that hit me is that all through time, they wanted a king from their own. And for the first time in Israel history, they chose a Gentile as a king. And God used that same Gentiles, those same Romans, to destroy them, to wipe them out. Yep. All the other times, they still were worshiping idols and accepting God partially. But this time, they say, we have no other king. Yeah, when they had the King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
Yep.
Yeah.
What just came to mind there, David, is that the parable, when the king sent his son, he sent his servants, they killed his servants, then he sent his son, and they killed his son, and he asked the question, what that king will do to these people when he ready for them. And we see now exactly what he did.
They answered it, and when they left Jesus, they said, wait, nice, what are you talking about it? That was the exact words.
Yeah.
They realized that he was speaking about them. Anyway, guys, it's read it and weep. Okay, guys, this have no other books. It have no interpretation. We're not interpreting the Bible. This is just read it and weep. It says what it says, and it is what it is. But now we go on. So verse 22, okay? And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Well, it just got fun here now. Because Jesus is prophesying. Is it that he is saying that, well, I'm prophesying that this will happen, but during when it going to happen, God will kind of change his mind and he'll shorten the days because he'll find it too much now. What kind of prophecy would that be? That would be one of them jokey prophecy what people just use nowadays if Jesus did that. Because like, yeah, sure, it's long or it's short. Which one? God is not like that, guys. So let's read this thing properly. Except it says, and except those days be shortened. The word shortened there means curtailed, abridged, curtailed, right? Figuratively to shorten, but the real word is to abridge or to curtail. Now, what do we mean by that? It's used twice alone, Matthew and Mark, in the same context. That's the only place it's used in the Bible is right here, in the same context in Mark, okay? What does it mean that except those days should be abridged or curtailed? Let me continue reading and then I'll give you the answer. There should no flesh, if that didn't happen, no flesh would be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days have been curtailed. This requires examination. The elect, I'm going to click on that one too, simply means chosen. The chosen ones. Probably that would ring a bell. Who is the chosen ones? Are we talking Gentiles?
144,000.
Thank you. The 144,000. Those are the elect. The chosen ones, which, did you see any dead 144,000 people in heaven? In Revelation?
No, they were all alive.
Okay, let's go to Revelation 7. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. When you guys have a chance, just click on 4 winds. Do a search for 4 winds in the Bible, the Old Testament. Everywhere that the 4 winds is mentioned, I'm not going to do it now for time's sake, okay? But everywhere it's mentioned, it means armies from all corners of the world. It's armies, it refers to that. Armies coming. And what did it say? When the armies surround Jerusalem. So it's in harmony. We think 4 winds, we immediately think in storm, breeze. It's not about that. It's destructive armies. Please feel free to check me. Always fact check me, as a matter of fact. Always. Right? Just do a search and quote and in quotation marks, 4 winds, and it has about 7 or 8 times this specific terminology is used in the Old Testament. Right. So these angels are holding back these armies of the world. It's holding back. Right? Then it says, and I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of God, the seal of the living God, and cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels who was given the permission to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not neither the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, until we have sealed the servants of God, our Father, in their forehead. Of God in their forehead, sorry. And then he hears the people who are sealed, 12,000 from the 12 tribes of Israel, Jews. Everybody trying to be part of this. Not just you Jehovah's Witnesses, every Tom, Dick, and Harry, all of a sudden we is what? Spiritual Jews and all kind of things to be everybody trying to be a part of this. Well, let's see if you could be part of this. Here's what it's saying. Hurt not the earth or the trees with all these armies before we seal the servants of God. Now we saw that when Jerusalem was surrounded was when the time of trouble as never was and never will be again. But before that happened, the servants of God, which are Jews, must be sealed. It's 12,000 from each tribe. Then talking about Gentiles there. They must be sealed. All of us want to be sealed. We'll get to that another day, okay, guys? This is not us. Sealed before. Now, if these people are dead, let's put James in the mix here. We know that James got killed in AD 41 to 44. That's when Agrippa was reigning, so it's between there he got killed. I can't tell you the date and time. He got killed somewhere between there. If James had to be sealed, is it that the angels go in and look in coming close to AD 70 there when the destruction will take place? Is it that the angels go and look for his grave and seal him? Serious question. I need an answer.
No.
Because what is the point? He done that already, whether I heard the trees or whatever, it go affect him?
He would have endured to the end already.
His end. But no. That
His
is
end.
correct what you're saying, but
Yeah.
the point that I'm making here is that if you are dead, hurting the trees and the rivers and the seas and the city and the everything else has no effect on you. Why am I coming to seal you before I unleash it? This could only be alive people. Just like in the prophecy in Ezekiel, where Ezekiel saw the angel come with the inkhorn, and he said, before they go and destroy the city, send this man with the inkhorn to go and mark all my people. This is just like in Exodus, before God sent the death angel for Egypt's skin, everybody who put the blood on the doorpost and the lintel house was spared. If there was Israelites and they didn't put the blood, they would have been seen no different by the angel. He'd have killed them, kill the firstborn inside it anyway. So the seal of God is not for dead things or dead people. It's to protect living. And once we understand that first, let's get back to Matthew. We'll come back here in a bit, but let's go back to Matthew. The elect that everybody seems to be these days. Oh, we is the elect. We not no elect. This here is referring to those who God will choose to put his name on. The seal of God, read Revelation, please, is my Father's name written in their forehead. It is plain. It is there in Revelation. I can't tell you the chapter and verse. Somebody want to find, feel free. Right? That is the seal of God. He seals them with his own name. And they sealed in the blood of the Lamb. Why? Because he is going to unleash tyranny on all his enemies, and he's protecting them from it. When the unleashing takes place, they are protected. They, the sealed and elect, do not experience the turmoil that is coming. This is a 180-degree message from what you have ever been taught or what we have ever been taught. Because as far as I know, the elect go and get pressure in our skin. We are the ones who they're going to be hunting down with dogs and lions and swords. Swords, in this day and age, 21st century, they can't look for with swords. Yeah.
Amen. David, Revelation 14:1.
Mhm.
It says, and I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads.
And in 7 is where they were sealed. And in
Yes.
14 is what the seal is. The
Yes.
seal of God is not the Sabbath. It never was and never will be. It is his rest day. It is definitely a principle that he has put there for us to know when he's coming back and when the end of this world will be. But the seal of God is not the Sabbath. Never was and never will be. And if it's not the Sabbath, then the Sunday law nonsense is not the opposite and all the rest of it that goes with the story. Shebang down the road. Okay? All right. I'm coming back to Revelation 14 just now. But for now, let us understand something here. Except those days be shortened or curtailed, the elect wouldn't be saved. They will die. No flesh will be saved. And remember, the 144,000 does not die. These are not dead people. Andrew, did you hear any resurrection yet? Not yet, right?
No, I haven't heard any resurrection as yet.
Good. These elect people is not people who see death. These are sealed and protected from any of that storm that is going to arise there. So what is the shortening of time or curtailing of time, more correctly used? Well, just go to Revelation chapter 12, Daniel chapter 7, and Daniel chapter 12. And we will see that, and Revelation 11, and Revelation 13, yes, 11, 12, and 13, Daniel 7 and 12. We will see a time period repeated there 7 times, by the way, 7 times, using months, days, and years, the same time period, 3.5 years, 42 months, 1,260 days. Repeated 7 times in the Bible as the time when God's servants would be persecuted. And after that persecution is done, after the Gentiles have had their time, which is 3.5 years, then they cannot do them a thing again after that. God, long before Jesus is saying this now in Matthew, had already set the time. That is what it means here when it says, except those days were curtailed, except God had put a specific time frame for them to operate within, they'd kill everybody, wipe out everybody. But that is not possible because the elect or chosen ones don't see that. Why? Because the time frame was already put there. Is that clear, everybody? Okay. Not hearing anything?
Yes,
so
David.
oh,
Yes, David.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Good. So this thing about we as the elect, we'll get back to it at some point in time, but we need to deal with it as it is what Jesus was talking about. We'll deal with what it's not afterwards, right? Those days will be shortened, he says, or would be curtailed, which is the time frame that he had already established since Daniel 7 for this thing. I want to let me go to that same Revelation 14 just to put the icing on this cake here. So we just read verse 1, but he saw the 144,000 with the fire's name in it. Continuing on. And I heard, verse 2, a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters and as the voice of the great thunder, and I heard the voice of harpers harping on their harps. And they sang, as it were, a new song before the throne and before the beasts, the 4 beasts, and before the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000, which were redeemed. Redeemed could also be purchased from the earth. When they killed the lamb in Egypt, it redeemed their firstborn from the death angels carrying out the execution. It's redeemed. When Jesus, the Passover, came, he redeemed not only the 144,000, his purchase price paid for everybody, including us. Okay, so we ain't left out. The purchase price was for all of us. But here it is specifically speaking of the 144,000, and it says, whom were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. Now, there is debate as to, is this real virgins, or is this about not succumbing to paganism or false doctrines and so on and so on? Honestly, I haven't did it in depth to make a yay or nay decision on that. Either which way, we know these are righteous people. But if it is indeed, they have not thing with virgins, then we could see a point there that this is real men, number one, real men, so which means the 144,000 will have no women in it. Sorry, woman, but that's just, it is what it is, okay? It will be all men because they identify as with women. If it is in the literal sense, then there's no females in the 144,000, and I wouldn't doubt that anyway. Secondly, the point is that Peter was a married man. We know that because Jesus went to his mother-in-law's house and she had a headache. And Jesus cured her of the headache and she got up and prepared food for them to eat. Remember that? Anybody? I don't know that story.
Yes, I know the story. I just wasn't sure it was a headache or a fever, but she was sick. Yeah.
Fever. It probably was a fever. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right? Fever. The point I'm making is that if Peter was a married man, you cannot be a virgin, because on the night to consummate the marriage in a Jewish wedding, you can't do it any other how but to consummate it, okay? So he was no virgin. Guess what? He also got killed. Jesus tell him how he'll die. Newsflash, he ain't in the 144,000. Shock.
He died.
The stone, the rock on which I built my church, not a part of the 144,000? No, because the 144,000 were alive and the angels had to protect them and they never saw that. But Peter is in the foundation, or his name is in the foundation of the New Jerusalem, where the 12 apostles' names are each one of the foundations. But what he's not, he wasn't chosen to be one of the 144,000. That choosing is God's doing. That's why when they was asking who go sit on this side and who go sit on that side, he said that's God's choosing. A little bit thing in that. And that's why when he said, Peter, you go and dead, and he said, and the other one would tarry, which was John he was referring to, everybody boiled, oh, John, I go dead. He said, I didn't say that. I just said he'll tarry till I come. Because that's none of your business. Who God chooses and puts his name in the Father's forehead, it doesn't mean that they are the only people who will be saved, but they are the ones who would make up the first fruit. Well, I'm going to read it here first. All right, hold on. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. They were redeemed from among men, being first fruits unto God and the Lamb. Guys, we say that the first fruits, which is the 144,000, is the last set of people to leave this planet. Right? And when I say we, I'm referring to Adventist doctrine, okay? where they say, you know, after the time of trouble and they come into with swords and the Sunday law pass and thing and the earth can end now. We're just painting that kind of scenario for we make it. We live to see him coming in the skies and we, yay, this is how God we've long waited for him. All the dead are raised and then we last raise up to be with him in the air. How the last people to raise up in the air could even factor in as first fruits in your mind? How? How? Please tell me.
David, say to mute your mic.
Huh?
Why this?
No, we just laughing because we said that the normal sin is that the last will be first. The first will be last.
Oh, okay.
That have a totally different meaning, and we'll get to that. So it's illogical, okay? Spock will tell you that that is illogical. In addition, yes, Spock. In addition to that, right, Star Trek, in addition to that, even Spock knows that is illogical. In addition to that, this thing about first fruits is not something that I guess we particularly understand, because when we want rice or flour or whatever, we go to the supermarket and just buy it, okay? But in the days when this was written and Jesus was talking to his 40 apostles, closest friends and allies and inner circle, you didn't have no supermarket to run and buy wheat and grain and things from. That's not how it was. You plant it and you reap it and you harvest it and it lasts as long as the year, and then the next year you need new ones and so on or whatever, you know, right? It had 3 harvest people. The barley, now it wasn't only barley they planted, it had barley and flax, and you would have had things like, what's that tree, the fig tree, and figs and so on would have come in the first harvest, but it is destined by the harvest of barley. That's the name that, you know, even though it have other little things in it, the barley is the major one harvested on the first harvest. Then you have the wheat, which are, and when you're harvesting wheat, they would have harvested other grains too, but the wheat was the major one. So that one was the harvest of wheat and the harvest of the first fruits. Then you had the last harvest for the year, which is your vine fruits and your olives and your olives and your grapes and other veg and so on, but vine fruits, right? These 3 harvests are symbiotic with this nation of Israel. You cannot separate them or twist them up. The feast followed those 3 harvests. If you got the harvest out of time, the feast would have been out of time. And guess what else it followed? The coming of the Lord to harvest this world. Jesus, the first harvest, the first born of the dead, was Jesus. Why do you think that on the Feast of Unleavened Bread, on the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest had to wave 1 sheaf? I think I have a picture of it. Oh, I ain't going to show all that now. Look at Google it for yourself. 1 sheaf of barley, not fields of barley, not the people bring. This sheaf was taken from a special field that was close to the temple. They grew it especially for this purpose. And the priest would go out early, the same time Mary was looking for Jesus on Sunday morning, that's the time when the priest would be out there early, before sunrise, getting the sheaf of barley to bring it up Temple Mount for the high priest to wave before the Lord. And when that was done, it was declared the harvest open. People could now start to eat the barley that was harvested that year. Before that, nothing could be eaten. from that year's barley harvest, which is why Jesus told Mary, touch me not, because I haven't yet gone up to my Father and waved myself and presented myself before him.
No 7-day travel.
Yep. He went up and come back down the same day. The evening he was in a room with Peter them, same day. And they could have touched him because he had already presented. So now the feast, the eating is open. All right. Now, I'm not going to go too much more into that. That have more depth. That was where I thought we would have been going this week, and it ended up changing. So by God's grace, probably next week, we're going to deal with it, because that symbiotic relationship is what is going to tell us where we fit in. If the first feast, which is tied to the first harvest, which was tied to the first born from the dead, the first fruit from the dead, which was Jesus, came true on time, exactly as they were dress rehearsing for it all those years, then don't we think, or let me reverse that, because that is a silly way to say it. Don't think for a moment that the second two feasts wouldn't have the same outcome in terms that they wouldn't be fulfilled. Most definitely they would be. All right?
These are they which follow the Lamb.
Yeah, and in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God. All right, and then it stops there and he goes into a different mode. I'm just pelting this out there for you guys. It will tantalize your brain. But we wouldn't get into it today. Sorry, time's sake, okay? Guys, read again this verse here, this chapter, 14 about the 144,000, which is from 1 to 5. And read again verse 7, chapter 7, which is from 1 to 8. Those are the two chapters covering the 144,000 in direct reference. And guess what you wouldn't see? I'll tell all of this soft because a little bit extra. You wouldn't see that they didn't receive the mark of the beast. All you did hear what I said there? The 144,000, nowhere in Revelation is it referred to as them. These are they that didn't receive the mark in their forehead or in their hand. Guys, there's another group of people. The big multitude that was standing on the sea of glass, you'll see these are those. These are they. All right, let me go to chapter 14. Let's show you. Go to chapter 15, 15. And I saw another sign in heaven, a great and marvelous 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them was filled the wrath of God. And I saw, as it were, the sea of glass mingled, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over the image, and over the mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having harps of God. And they sung the song of Moses and the Lamb, and so on and so on and so on. These who didn't fear, and so on and so on. This is the great multitude. This is not the 144,000. The 144,000 was sealed off from any wind of strife blowing on them. What mark of the beast they had to deal with? They already dealt with it, dealt what they had to deal with already. And when God choose you, chosen, that's what elect means. When he choose you and elect you and set you aside and say, right, unleash the beast, you're still protected. Nowhere in Revelation can anybody find that the 144,000 had to deal with the mark of the beast. I know this is a shock to everybody's psyche, And you had to go and check it? Yeah, please check it.
You know what I'm happy with the beast and the mark.
Yes, sir.
Please check it. All right. As I say, I would go into more depth at another time, and we'll go into that in very much more detail when we're dealing with the mark of the beast. But I just throwing it out there for now. Okay? The elect, two things. They don't see that, and they don't deal with, then it's never referred to as them overcoming the beast. It says they were virgins, they washed their robes in the blood of the Lamb, which everybody has to do, but not they got over the mark or the number of his name, etc., etc. Okay. Behold, so that just rules out, apart from the simple logic that Spock taught us, that rules out all this thing about we get over the Sunday law and we's the mark of the beast. I mean, we's the 144 who lived to see it.
And the pastors are the elect.
Now, all the Jehovah's Witnesses, the elect. So everybody had a story, you know, but at the end of the day, it's what the Bible says.